E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Aloha, everybody. What's going on out there? This is Miho from the Too Close to Call cast, but this is the first episode of the Road to Victory cast. I don't know exactly what the heck we're calling it specifically, but as we mentioned on our post, we're breaking up our episodes here to get you guys a little bit more content at a lesser length of time. So I'm joined with my co-host Pags, and this is the Road to Victory, the Eagles podcast, brought to you by Too Close to Call.
This is going to be my favorite one, I think.
You better bring the hot takes on this one for the birds.
Let's get it, bird!
We're less than 2 weeks from the draft here, Pags, and we still don't know what the Eagles are going to do. You know, we're seeing some smoke screens. We're reading all the mock drafts. Nobody knows what the heck's going to go on with all these trades and whatnot. So instead of trying to predict ultimately who they're going to take, how about we look at some positions of need?
Before you do that, don't you think it's a little odd that usually by now we are diving deep into Eagles draft, and just with the Phillies and the Sixers, we just haven't been doing it?
And honestly, dude, I've fallen off that mock draft list a little bit just because if you look at them and then look post-draft, people get like 10% right who are the experts.
Yeah, no one's ever.
The quarterbacks always go. There's always a trade. There's always something that just throws the whole board into shambles, and it is what it is. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to read them, but I'm not going to give a shit anymore.
It's just, they're always wrong.
They're always wrong. So that's where I say, hey, not specific players, but more so positional needs. For immediately in the 2019 season, as we're looking to obviously make another Super Bowl run here, what do you think the Eagles' three biggest needs are, ranked 1, 2, 3, going into the draft yet?
So immediately, I have our number one need, and this should not be a surprise, is linebacker. I think we are very, very weak at that position, and we don't have any depth. So I think we got to draft at least 2 linebackers in this draft. At number 2, I have us at edge. I need us to have an edge rusher somewhere along the lines of, because we don't even know if Chris Long's coming back, how healthy Derek Barnett's going to be. We need to bring in a DN there to rush the passer. And then number 3, I need O-line depth. I need us to have backups because, Jason Peters, he's not going to last the entire year. I mean, we lost Stefan Wisniewski. Kelsey's been banged up for the last couple years. We just need O-line depth to step in there to fill in for a game or a couple series.
You're saying the defense still needs some focus. When you say linebacker, are you worried about the fact that right now I think Nigel's penciled into the middle and they're kind of going to, draft towards the outside, or would you be more in favor of drafting a stud linebacker early who's potentially a middle guy and then shifting Nigel back out?
I'm going to be honest with you. I really like Nigel in it at the middle linebacker position. He did a great job when they made their Super Bowl run. He played it very well. So if there's an outside linebacker that is higher on your draft board than a middle linebacker, I'm not reaching to take a middle linebacker. I'm going with the best of the position, so I can go either way.
So in the first round, you have the 2 Devins, right? Devin Bush and Devin White, who are stud inside linebackers, I believe. Would you be in favor of potentially taking one of those guys in the first round if they were to fall? But I guess you're saying that you think they're going to go elsewhere based on the value of the pick.
I, in a heartbeat, would take one of those middle linebackers. I just have no faith that they will do it because, like we said in the last podcast, they really do not value this linebacker position.
I'm with you, dude. And that's unfortunately, without giving it away there, I was playing a little bit of devil's advocate, but I actually have linebacker as their number one immediate need as well. I am just not comfortable with the tandem of Nate Gary, Paul Warlow, and Kamir Grugier-Hill filling in some snaps. I know they only like to play 2 linebackers on the field at a time, but any one of those guys, man, I am not confident in an open field tackle of anybody in a skill position.
I don't know if there is an Eagles, for someone who follows the Eagles, that wouldn't have linebacker as the number one need. If someone else doesn't, I would really like to hear their thought process on that.
I know, seriously, right? And like you mentioned, though, Howie Roseman just doesn't value it. So we're going to be looking at another probably third-day pick there just thrown into the mix. So We better hope one of these guys develops into something, man, or it could be an area of concern all year.
Well, the last time I wanted them to draft a linebacker was the dude from Bama when we were at the draft, and thank God we didn't take him.
Hey, well, he's only fined or something. Game checks, right? That just came out.
Really?
He's not getting suspended.
Reuben Foster?
Yeah, it was 2 game checks or something like that, but he's able to play for Washington now, right?
Well, good call by the Redskins, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. So who knows what they're getting from him, because he was bad when he played, but he was the last guy on the board where we were kind of begging for it. And I have defensive line at number 2 and then running back at number 3, because we've all seen the reports that they're not done at the running back position. Same reasons as linebacker. I do not see Josh Jacobs showing up for the Birds, and I haven't taken a deep enough dive into the draft to know who these day 3 guys are in the 4th round that they take every freaking year, and one of them hasn't hit yet. But D-line as the number 2 need and the number 1 value on a draft board is ultimately where I think we're going to see 2 out of 3 of these first picks go defensive line.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I think so as well.
Maybe secondary, maybe O-line, but just with the depth of the draft, you're going to see a D tackle and a DN, in my opinion, and we're all just going to go, oh, that's nice. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yay!
Yeah, that guy's good. He stops the run. Woohoo! But it's what we need, man. So it's going to be ugly. It's going to win football games, and come November, we're going to be like, oh, this fucking guy's amazing.
Oh, we love him. Fletcher Cox, first round draft pick. We were like, yay, D tackle out of Mississippi State. And now we all love him.
And that parlays into our second conversation of, hey, top 3 needs long-term for the Birds. We just discussed 2019. I guess a question for you without taking a lot of the listeners' time, like we had mentioned in our post. Do you have any position in this list that is not currently in the immediate needs? Because obviously if D-line running back for me is an immediate need and they don't fix it, it's still a need long-term. Duh. So I have one more where I'm like, hey, we're okay this year, but long-term, that's going to be a fucking problem. And I think we may be on the same page just because we both know what the fuck we're talking about.
Number 1 need for the future, it has to be secondary, specifically cornerback for me. Darby's on for 1 more year. I think we really need to address this in the draft. And Sidney Jones could pan out this year and then be like, okay, well, maybe it's not as pressing as we think, but I really
seriously think Sidney Jones could fucking develop this year, Pags? Are you you're still holding out hope for him?
No, I just hit you with a maybe.
I'm just asking. Are you a pro, or because I am done with Sidney Jones. Like
I know you are.
If you get anything out of Sidney Jones, it's fucking more than I think you're getting. If he makes 2 tackles this year without fucking tweaking a hamstring season 1, I'm going to stand up and applaud his effort.
There it is. It's turning out to be another wasted second-round pick.
I understand the pick. I get it. I don't fault them for it. It's just a miss, and it's why I bitch at you. Fucking trade these picks, because half of them don't even pan out anyway.
Yes.
So, but I have the same thing, Pags. Corner, secondary. We need to develop a 3rd safety this year, probably early in the draft. I thought about putting that in my top 3 needs. But the corner position, that's why this year it seems okay, even though you don't know what the hell you're getting out of Jalen Mills, and even if he's going to be able to play now after what the fuck happened this weekend.
Yeah, I saw a headline. So I saw Jalen Mills punches a wizard.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's a great headline.
What? I was like, did Merlin come around and he just punched him in the fucking face?
Jalen Mills was at fucking Hogwarts this weekend?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, that whole thing was just fucking stupid.
And anyway, he's got his foot, so who knows if he's going to play. Darby's coming off an ACL, right? I think that's what it was. Yeah. So he may or may not be ready. Sidney Jones, like we mentioned, gives you nothing. The only 2 guys, you get the fill-ins last year who turned in good performances, and Cravon LeBlanc, Sullivan, DeAndre Hall. But if you're trying to compete for a Super Bowl, these guys are not your starting corners. And that leaves Rasul Douglas and Avonte Maddox, and those are the only 2 guys who are signed beyond this year anyway. So as deep as the position is, man, it could be thin in the blink of an eye.
Do you think they go corner first round?
I don't, man. I don't see a corner worthy of the pick. I think they could. Yeah. I think they could. but the way the board falls, I don't. And even in the second round, man, that's where you're starting to see some of these safety names where they may go D-line safety, interior, O-line, D-line, however things fall.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I do agree with you. The near future looks bleak with cornerback play. And, yeah, you got Malcolm. You don't know how long Malcolm's going to make it with him.
And Rodney's getting expensive. So. It's definitely a position. But, hey, we're going to get out here on this tidbit. Give me 15 seconds about this last thought I'm going to drop on you here. You ready?
Hit it.
Don't be surprised when the Philadelphia Eagles take a quarterback in this year's draft.
Ooh, interesting.
Nate Sudfeld as a backup. They've signed Perez from the AAF as a third dude. They need somebody as a 3 who's a developmental guy, and he's coming from the draft.
In the 6th, 7th round?
It depends on how it falls, man. If somebody's there, don't be even surprised as early as 4 or 5.
Interesting.
We'll drop it on that. We'll let you guys run. Coming up on 12 minutes. That's where we wanted to put it, between 10 and 15. Hey-o. So we're going to come at you live with the Road to Victory podcast twice a week till draft. Then we'll give you post-draft analysis, and things may slow up through OTAs, but once training camp hits, we'll get you all your Birds information.
Go Birds.